it now. Yeah, we are live on Facebook. Hello, good evening. Good evening, Philippines. Good evening, Middle East. And good afternoon, UK. So, welcome to IFNG. Our topic for today, I'm glad that we are bringing back, this is not only the first time, the second time, but this is the third time of Joy Ielts. So, welcome, Joy. I'm happy that you're back here.
I'm so delighted to be back, and I'm sorry I confused the time, everyone. I'm so sorry. Jeff, now thank you for submitting the tasks to me. The only thing is, I'm just trying to find the question.
Okay, sure. Take your time. Okay, yeah. Please find it. To our members, please don't forget to, if you're watching on Facebook, please don't forget to, you can share this video and tag your friends so they can, benefit from this video. None other than Joy Ielts. Joy is from the UK. She will give a little bit background of her later. And to our Zoom participants, we have 27 Zoom participants. Yeah, so have you found it?
I have found the task 1. If you could give me 1 second to find the task 2.
I can forward it to your Facebook again. I think
that would be great. Just the questions.
Here. Sharon, it's there.
Wonderful. Okay. Let me get that.
So to all the members, please type in where are you right now, so at least you know. And then you can, can be interactive. If you have questions, just type in.
Yes, I would love this to be interactive.
Yes, because Joy, she don't want it to, you're just listening. You need to say something.
Yeah. Okay, the whole purpose, otherwise we should make a YouTube video. The whole purpose of a class like this is that students can ask questions, because they can't ask questions to a YouTube video. So, would you like, let's ask the students if they would like to start with task 1 or task 2. The first person who gives an answer will do the task 1 or the task 2 first. Do you have an answer, Jeff? Oh, Jeff, you're on mute.
Did it on purpose because I'm giving you now the floor.
Okay,
the floor is yours.
Okay, everyone. So we are going to, let's start with the task 2. So we have got here, first of all, it would be great to know how many students have actually, am I sharing my screen, Jeff? May I share my screen? I am sharing it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so it would be great to know, first of all, how many of you have done the exam. I'm so sorry for my rosy cheeks, and that's another collocation, rosy cheeks when they're red. I was going to put some nice makeup on beforehand, and then I mistook the time. So it'd be great to know how many of you have actually done the exam. I had an interview in my group yesterday with a student of mine, and it was so interesting. And he said, I'm Indian, and I did the exam with 40 other people, and he got a 7. He got a 7 on his first time, but he got a 7.5 in listening, and he needed 8. Anyway, the reason for this story is that he said other students got 8 in listening and reading, 9 in listening, but they're stuck on 6.5, and seems to be a common theme. I'm just interested if most of the students here are preparing to do the IELTS for the first time, or if they find themselves stuck on a 6 or a 6.5 in writing. It seems to be so common. Anyhow, we're doing this task today. It's a to what extent question. And the question is, rich countries give money to poor countries, but it does not solve poverty. Therefore, developed countries should give other types of aid to help, not to help, other types of help to the poor countries rather than financial aid. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, I teach to answer this question. To what extent do you agree or disagree? To fully agree or to fully disagree, unless you are already a band 7. The IELTS questions are designed so that you can do this. It is a much more straightforward way to answer. And you can get a band 8 or a 9. You don't need to think of a complex answer and think of the other side. And it's not asking you to think of the other side. It's asking you to think about your opinion. Do you agree or disagree? So let's have a look at now it seems to be Faye. Faye has written an answer to this question. Is Faye with us? Okay, so, right. First world countries help. I'll make the question smaller so we can see it. So the question is, rich countries give money to poor countries, but it doesn't solve poverty. First world countries help third world countries by giving monetary values whilst it does not aid the poverty. That is why there are other ways that rich nations should give in order to help poor countries. The SSE agrees that financial aid should not be the only basis in helping other countries. Okay, so some good stuff here and some stuff that we need to work on. I'm delighted to see that Faye has written her thesis and that she agrees. Great, good thesis. Now the paraphrase needs a little bit of work. So grammatically, so this would be a great, opportunity. Look, it says here, but to use a complex sentence and to say, although first world countries help third world countries by giving monetary values. Now, we don't give monetary values. A value is like a moral. Does anyone know what a moral is? Well, a moral is like something that you believe. So that's not really a correct collocation. So you could say by giving monetary aid. So monetary aid, I know it says financial aid. There are words that you can repeat. You don't have to think of a new synonym every time. It's much better to repeat a word than it is to force an awkward synonym in. You'll lose points for a synonym that doesn't quite match. No, you'll lose more points than you will for, it's completely fine. So we can say here monetary aid or monetary help. What does it say in the question? Give money. So well, why don't we say financial aid? Well, let's say monetary help. So we should say monetary values. Now, there's quite a common error here with this whilst. So Faye's trying to make a complex sentence. Now, first of all, we should use while or whereas. We shouldn't really use whilst. It's a little bit dated. Now, when we're using a conjunction, this word is a conjunction, in the middle of a sentence, we should not put a comma after it. This would be, I'm going to restructure this. This would be much better to start with although, okay? Although, and then first world countries help. We're going to delete this and we're just going to say it does not, now we don't aid poverty, but we can help poverty. I'll give you a really good, what would be great if I tell you when there's a collocation, if you could repeat it in the chat box, because what I teach in my academy is like muscle memory. We only really learn the best when we activate our knowledge and we write. So monetary aid is one collocation. Poverty is a general noun that we don't use an article for. It's like crime or love. So we don't say the with poverty. Or pollution. We don't say the with pollution. So I'm going to give you a collocation, relieve. Relieve poverty is a wonderful collocation. Now, when you're aiming for band 7, the examiner isn't just looking at your individual vocabulary. They're looking at your ability to use collocations, not idioms, not phrasal verbs, collocations, words that go naturally together. So we've made that a little bit more band 80. So although, so you see, if you see but in the question, then you can use although, you can contrast it. Although first world countries help third world countries by giving monetary aid, it does not relieve poverty. Beautiful. That is why. There are other ways. I wouldn't say that is why. I know it says therefore. That is why. It's very informal. There are other ways that rich nations should give in order to help poor countries. So we just need to change this. That is why. And it says therefore in the question. I'll come back to it. It's okay. It's just not brilliant for an academic essay. Because of this. Anyway, so let's see how Faye has structured her body paragraphs. Now, I always teach 2 body paragraphs. I work closely with an examiner just to find the most effective way to respond to questions. And okay, so would you like to read this with me? And would you like to tell me if she has supported her view with 2 reasons, or if she has written about the opposite view as well? So have a little read. These are the body paragraphs. Jeff, I can't see. Oh, comments here. Task 2. Okay. Oh, and I can't see the comments. Okay, so what I'd like from you in the comments is read the body paragraphs. Does she support her view in body paragraphs? Well, I can see that Faye in body paragraph 1, let's read. Financial assistance has a big help to poor countries such as Philippines, Indonesia, and India. They aid hunger of people and provide some basic needs for everyday life. In addition to this, some people that receive any amount of money from donations used it as a capital to build their own business. In this paragraph, Faye is talking about the benefits of financial assistance, okay? It's almost like she is talking about the first premise here, but she's actually not talking about her opinion. She's not talking about it shouldn't be the only basis. So I would say a lot of this paragraph, it's quite a small paragraph. We would want more than 2 sentences in a body paragraph. We would really want about 4. She's not supporting. So this is what I would suggest for a topic sentence, okay? So our topic sentences, so our introduction is super important. It gives the examiner the first impression. And then our topic sentences need to be really simple, really direct, okay? And if you're writing a fully agree or a fully disagree essay, this is your topic sentence. The first, it might even seem too simple for you. First reason, I agree that richer countries should help by other means. And then I'm going to do capitals, but you don't write capitals in the essay, is because. Oh. Okay, so what the examiner wants to see is very clear topic sentence that supports your thesis. So this is Faye's thesis. This essay agrees that financial aid should not be the only basis in helping other countries. But she's written about the benefits of financial assistance. It could be okay in a balanced essay. This could be, and you can write a balanced essay, but I don't suggest doing that unless you are already band 7. It's actually trickier to write a balanced essay. You need quite sophisticated language. So let's just look at her grammar anyway. So financial assistance has a big help. We wouldn't say has, we would say is. And a big help, it's really quite informal language. Big, it's not going to get you any points. So financial assistance provides, let's say, instead of a big help, let's say essential support Okay, so we can say that, so then we delete the is, okay? To poor countries, such as the Philippines. I don't know why the Philippines. I believe it's the Philippines, such as the Philippines, Indonesia, and India. Now, can anyone tell me if financial assistance is a singular or a plural noun? Anybody? Who knows their singulars and their plurals? Thank you, Shaman. Okay, good job. So, Shaman, therefore, can you read the start of the next sentence? Thank you, IFNG. Can you read the first word of the next sentence? And can you tell me how we can change that then? So, financial assistance is a singular noun. So then what should we start the next sentence with? Well, they is plural. Yeah, so we need to say it. And to use they or it is very good for your coherence and cohesion. It's good referencing, but it needs to be the correct form. So it, and then what do we how do we change the verb afterwards? It aids the hunger. It actually doesn't aid hunger. It doesn't aid, it relieves hunger, but we've already used relieve. It aids, thank you, Shaman, aids, good. So we need a different word. Now, if you can think of a synonym, such as the Philippines, it aids. It's almost like if you say it aids hunger, then it helps hunger. It helps hunger become more. You don't want that. Anybody? Synonym for aids. It aids the hunger of people. I'm going to put here relieves. And we're going to change the previous relieves, okay? So relieves means makes it less. It relieves the hunger of people and provides some basic needs for their everyday life. In addition to this, some people that receive any amount of money from donations used it as a capital to build their own business. So we've got a little error here with used. So we're talking about in general, because Faye has written some people that receive, so in the present simple, so just a fact. So then she's going to have to say present simple. Oh, fact, MJ, mitigate ease. Look at you guys. Brilliant. Thank you so much. So let me go back and change that. Great. Use it as capital. Now, we fixed the grammar things in here, but I still think this topic sentence, this whole paragraph should be different. And this paragraph should talk about the first reason that she thinks that other aid should help. And then the second body paragraph should be the second reason. This is the most straightforward and effective way to answer this type of question. Not from me, from two examiners. So now alleviate, let's go back and thank you guys. Let's mitigate, alleviate, ease. Okay, it relieves to alleviate poverty. Excellent. So we'll change that. Okay, thank you. So now let's have a look. On the other hand, as we all know that corruption is a really big issue nowadays, many inhabitants also did not get financial help from donations that was held by the government. So again, we've got a little bit of an issue with the past simple here. So Faye's writing in the past, but this is, we need to be talking about a general truth. Okay, so it needs to be present simple. Otherwise, if she talks in the past, it's like she's talking about a very specific event, but we're talking about generally. So I wouldn't say, as we all know, that's kind of too informal for academic writing. So we would simply say, on the other hand, corruption, and again, we've got really big we want to just change big. You're not going to get any points for this word big. So corruption is a pressing issue nowadays, okay? Pressing meaning kind of urgent. Now, what I want to see in a topic sentence is a very direct topic sentence, and she's gone on to give an explanation in her topic sentence, but we want to save our explanation for the next sentence, because this is how we logically develop the essay. We don't want to put everything in the topic sentence. So corruption is a pressing issue nowadays. So we're going to finish that. Okay, so I would actually not even talk about corruption in the topic sentence. I'd say the second reason I agree is because many inhabitants do not receive the aid. Okay, so what's the topic? They don't get it. The topic of the paragraph is they don't get this aid. So, and then why? Well, because of corruption. So I would save corruption and put it in the second sentence. Does that make sense? Tell me you make sense if that makes sense. So if I were writing this essay with the first reason, the second reason, I would put my topic sentence like this. I would say, the second reason I agree is because many poor people do not directly benefit from financial aid, from international financial aid. Okay. Why? This is because corruption. I'm going to give you a collocation. I'd like you to repeat it to me in the chat box, okay? Corruption is rife, R-I-F-E. What do you think rife means? This is very high level, band 9, lexical resource. What do you think rife means? Does it mean a lot or a little or bad or good? Let's see who's answered. Nice. Shays. I think that's how, if I pronounce your name incorrectly, I'm so sorry. Please accept my apologies. So abundance. Yeah, it's loads. Exactly. Well done. Corruption is rife in impoverished countries. Okay. Yeah, exorbitant. Well, exorbitant more means expensive, but you're right that it means a lot. So rife means a lot. And it's always like connected with something negative, like it could be like a bad disease in a country. Like it could be like a, could it be a bad disease? It's actually just best with corruption. It's the best word for corruption. So what I've done here, I've rewritten her topic sentence, okay? The second reason I agree is because many poor people do not directly benefit from international financial aid. So that the topic of the paragraph is that the people don't get it. What's the reason? This is because corruption is rife in many impoverished countries. Okay. Right, now what does she say? This is my recommendation, how she should restructure the beginning of her paragraph. Now, corruption is a pressing issue. Many inhabitants do not get financial that was held by the governments. Okay, so then we can say, and these governments do not allocate the money honestly. Okay, so that's what she's saying. She said many inhabitants did not. And again, she's using the past simple. So we need to use the present simple. Furthermore, okay, so furthermore, they agreed. She's talking in the past again. We need to talk about the present. Who's they? I don't know who she means by they. Furthermore, they agreed that this should be sold in some other way, for example, canned goods, supply of rice, clothing, and other means that people may use. Moreover, so I don't know who they is. So I'm just going to put that there. And it should be agree in the present simple. So I'm just going to delete the D. That this should be solved in some other way. So we're going to put a comma here. For example, canned goods, supply of rice, clothing, and other means that people may use. Okay, but I'm not sure. So moreover, there are foreigners that can volunteer to teach indigenous people of a certain country on how to make goods in order to sell them, in order to make goods, which is plural, but we've got sell it, which is singular. So we need them and make a living. For example, they teach, you can say they can teach people how to make baskets from rattan or how to make a fine cloth. That's pineapple leaves. These types of community service really help. So we've got a lot of subject verb and singular plural confusions happening here. A lot of people to survive for their daily living. Okay. To sum it up. To sum up, not to sum it up. It would be better. Now, it's an opinion essay, so the best thing you can do after to conclude or to sum up is, I believe. You need to say your opinion again. I believe it would be better to assist people, not on, we don't assist on, how to stand on their own rather than giving them financial or monetary assistance that would only corrupt by some government officials. Okay, that right, okay, that would only corrupt. So we want to just like repeat the idea that's giving them financial assistance that would not reach them in most cases. Now, I've just got a little battery issue. What's happened? Stay right there. Okay, 1 second. Fantastic. I'm in the middle of nowhere in the Scottish countryside. Right. Reach them due to corruption. Okay. Now, Faye, let's see your last sentence. Also, it would be the start of economic growth if all of us fight together this poverty that is really endemic to some nations. All right, that's a nice sentiment. Sentiment means a thought or an idea. But Faye has introduced a completely new idea about economic growth, and she's not mentioned that in her previous paragraphs. And it's not ideal to do that in the Ielts. The only thing you should do in your conclusion is only mention what you have already spoken about. And she didn't speak about economic growth at all. The Ielts essay is a very unique type of essay. It's not like university essays. It's not like a creative writing essay. An Ielts essay is an Ielts essay. And so even though this would be a way to perhaps finish a different type of essay. We could finish a university essay with a nice thought like this. It's not appropriate for an Ielts essay. She hasn't talked about all of us fighting together in the body paragraph, so she shouldn't talk about it in the conclusion. So, rampant. You guys, you're great. Yeah, Christine and if and benefit. Good. Right, so my views. Does anyone have any questions about this essay first? Usually the only question is, what band is it? Does anybody struggle with how to answer the different questions? The most common struggle I see with my students is when they have an agree-disagree essay, they immediately think, I have to talk about the other side. And no. So let's see who's written a comment. Good question. I should have counted the words before I added words. Let me take out these words that I've added. I'll put them down here. I should have counted it at the beginning. Sorry about, I've got it on Word. It's on Word. 1 second. Is anyone familiar with Word? Does anyone know how to get the word count on Word? I can just put out a Google Doc. I am going to put this down here and count the words. $294, so that's good. That's not bad. I would always say try to aim for 270 to 290. Definitely don't be trying to do 300 or more. You've not got time. The more you write, the more chance you have of making an error. So, okay, and we'll put this back. We'll put this back here. So that's what I recommend she does. She, in her thesis, said, I believe countries should give other types of aid. But then in her first body paragraph, she talked about the benefits of financial aid. So it doesn't really match. You can be as, the IELTS is actually quite simple if you know the right strategy. Grammatical issues that I see here are a little bit of a confusion with the past and the present tense. And she may be talking about things that happened in the past, but usually in a task 2 essay, we're talking about facts and truths. So we need to write in the present tense. So grammatical issues, so grammatical range and accuracy, present tense, generally the sentence structure is quite good. Lexical resource. So there's been some very, very informal words such as big and really big and a lot. And we want to avoid those type of words. And, if it's big, you can just change this to large, depending on what type of thing it is. We had a but in the question. So we started our introduction with although. And I promised you I'd come back. That is why. Let's say this. For this reason, let's say this, for this reason, rich nations, okay, I'm going to change it to that. Okay. So give you a little score. I haven't actually got my box. it's going to be a high task response score here because I'm not sure who she's talking about here. Moreover, there are foreigners that can volunteer to teach indigenous people. So I think maybe talking about not so specific with the kind of making crafts and things, maybe talking about investing in education, providing courses and education, making it more general. Not all poorer countries, have baskets and this and that. People in poor countries, they do want to get a good education to climb the career ladder. So I would maybe talk about that. It's
been a while. Birthday, Mama.
I'm going to give, I'm so sorry, I'm going to give a 5 for task response. I'm going to give 6 for coherence and cohesion. The reason being it's a good structure essay. Second body paragraph. There's some confusions in the middle of the body paragraph. I'm not quite sure who she's talking about. Nevertheless, there generally is a good structure. She's written her topic sentences, not the ones that I recommend. Let's have a look. So there's some really nice words. Her lexical resource is quite good. So we've got, even though I recommended not using this sentence, we didn't talk about economic growth, but economic growth is a lovely collocation. Endemic, community service, canned goods, so I would probably the lexical resource, but then she's also used words such as big and really, which I would advise not to do.
At the back of the car when they arrived.
I'm so sorry.
Together with Dr. Ann.
Was that for me? No, okay. Probably give a 6.5, 7 for lexical resource. And then we don't really give middle criteria for, so that would be give us 6.5, and the grammar is going to be a 6. This essay may get a 6. So I think this essay would get a 5.5, largely due to the grammar. Shaman, is this your essay, Shaman? I'm going to give it a 6. But I think that's being a little bit high. And I'm quite harsh when I mark. And I hope those comments, and it makes sense why I've done that. And that's a good score. I mean, a lot of us in the IELTS internet space, we've got really, we're really driven and motivated, and we want a 7. When I was teaching at colleges and universities, people are getting onto university courses with a 5.5, and they were really struggling to get that. So when I started teaching online and realized that everyone was aiming for 7, I was like, wow, that's really high. So good. I hope that's okay. I hope I haven't offended anyone. If you have learnt one thing or picked up one trick from this training, I'd love to hear what it is. I mean, maybe the introduction, or maybe the topic sentences, or maybe how you should respond. I recommend that you fully agree or fully disagree. Your topic sentences should be, the first reason I agree is because. The second topic sentence should be additionally, or the second reason is because. And so if you've remembered anything from this, try to activate it. What did I remember? What can I learn? So that you haven't wasted your time watching this just for no reason. Like, the whole purpose of this and why Jeff's running the group is to give you the best information possible. So let's go to task 1. Let's go to phase task 1. I think it's the same student. So the graph shows underground station passengers in numbers. Summarize the information. So we'll have a look. And this is a tricky one. So there are static charts and there are dynamic charts, and dynamic charts change over time and static charts are only on one date. But this is actually changing over time throughout the day. Let's have a look at the response. So we want an introduction, an overview, and 2 details paragraphs. Okay.
Excuse me, Joy. This is Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah. I think the task 1, that essay that we will evaluate is from Sheena.
Sheena. Let me put her name on here. Well done, Sheena. I meant to put Filipino group, not Filipino person. That must have looked really bad. So let me put here Sheena.
Yeah, I sent it. No, I
Sheena
mean
with
I
us
sent it
today?
to the. I sent you her essay on your Facebook
for the task
task
2.
1. For the task 1.
So it's not this one.
Not this one.
It's not this one. 1 second.
Yeah, it's okay. We forward it again. So at least we will cover 2 students.
Thank you so much. Got it.
No problem. On your Facebook chat, I sent you now a message.
Thank you for that, Jeff.
No worries. Because
Sheena?
yeah, Sheena. Have you saw it?
Got it. There we go. Okay, let me share myself again.
Yeah.
You guys are so patient. Okay. So oh, it's so nice. It's getting dark, so you don't see my rosy cheeks anymore. It's all just overexposed with the camera. Right. The graph illustrates if there are how many people riding in the underground station, which can be found in London. Okay. When we say if, it means maybe or maybe not. So it's not about if. It just simply illustrates definitely. Okay, so not if. If there are, that's a question. Simply, the graph illustrates how many people. Let's have a look at the. Is this the present simple? Is this the past? Or is it the present continuous? What do you think it should be? Is it a fact? Is it about every day? It's about every day. So we're just going to use the present simple. How many people ride? And then we wouldn't say in, it would be on, but actually the preposition is not necessary here. The underground station, which can be found in London. That's just a little bit awkward. I know you've used a complex sentence there. The graph illustrates how many people ride the underground station in London. They actually don't ride the underground station. They ride the underground. Why don't we say by time throughout the day? That the category is time. How many people ride the Underground in London on an hourly basis? I'd like you to remember this phrase, on an hourly basis. That means every hour. Okay, good. So what I want to see here is, Sheila, you've written an introduction, and now I see 2 paragraphs, but I don't see an overview. So the overview is like a summary at the beginning. So in task 2, we write the summary at the end, and in task 1, we write it at the beginning, directly after the introduction. And to get a band 7 in Ielts academic writing, it's the most important thing. The overview, what does it say in the criteria? The marking criteria says, there is a clear overview showing the trends, or there's a clear overview. So you need a clear overview, and that overview is super simple to write. And we simply, maybe you can help me write it. We simply look for the most and the least. Okay, so we start with overall. Now, people in the group, what do you see as the most and the least in this graph? In the chat box. I'm just going to wait for you. So the best thing you can do is write. I want to see most numbers or the busiest time. Let's see. 8 o'clock, is that 8? It is, yeah, it's probably, looks actually like 7:30. It looks like between 8. Now, what would you say here for your overview? You could say, overall, the busiest time is 7:30 a.m. So the busiest, that's a superlative. Whereas, so we use the whereas, because if we're talking about the busiest or the most, we need to contrast it with the least. Whereas, what's the opposite here to busiest? Any ideas? Thank you, M. 8 a.m. Good. I think it's 7:30, but good for identifying that. Just, I'll show this for 10 more seconds. There are 2 times that are actually the least busy. Well done, MJ. Good, 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 good. So overall, 7:30 a.m. is the busiest time on the Underground, whereas 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. have the fewest or the least number. Sorry, lowest number. Anybody got any word for a synonym for people who travel to work? We could say travelers, but there's another word. Awesome. Mackin. Passengers is a good one, actually. I was thinking of commuters, but passengers is a good one because it may not be commuters. Maybe they're not coming to work, but it would still be very acceptable in the Ielts. Okay. So we were missing an overview. We've immediately missed a 7. And this is all you have to do for your overview, highest and lowest. I was working on this in my academy this morning with some students who are very new and they're very nervous, and we were doing static charts. And they're saying, really, it's really simple, just like the highest and the lowest. And you can get a really high score essay by just writing 1 sentence overview, but it should be a complex sentence where you contrast. Okay, so let's see. The data shows that when the clock ticks at 6 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, there are only few people utilizing it. But you're saying it, but you haven't mentioned what. It's a new paragraph, so we need to mention the topic again or the subject, and it's the Underground. So this, when the clock ticks at 6 in the morning, this is like an idiom. This is like very informal. I wouldn't suggest saying this at all. The data shows that at 6 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, 4. Oh, 4. Sorry, I was incorrect on my overview. 4 p.m. Sorry, you didn't correct me, you guys. 4 p.m. There are only few. Well, first of all, it's not few. We don't say few. We have to say a few. And second, how many is a few? That's not very good for an academic report. I'm going to send an academic report to the Mayor of London, and I'm just going to tell him there are a few passengers. Well, is that 100? Is it a billion? Is it a million? The details paragraphs absolutely must have statistics. You must put statistics. There are, so can you please tell me how many passengers there are at 6 and how many passengers there are at 4? I'll just wait for your answer because we have to put the details. 100, thank you, Karen, good job. So, 4 in the afternoon, there are not only few, there are only 100 people utilising the underground, not it, we can say it the second time we mention something. The underground or the metro we could use as their means of transportation. This is a nice phrase. However, on the other hand, well, however is the same as on the other hand. We don't need to say both together. Oh, this is, I think this is the overview. Right, it looks like this, Sheena, it looks like she's written an overview and I just thought it was a body paragraph. That's because she hasn't separated her details. It does look like, it looks like this was Sheena's overview. So I'm so sorry for saying she didn't write an overview because she, okay, so the data shows that at 6 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, there are the fewest number, the lowest number, okay? The lowest number of people travel. That would be the best way. However, on the other hand, at 8 a.m. and 6 in the evening, so if you're going to say at, there's no need to say are. 8 a.m. and 6 in the evening are the times, 2 times, so plural, of the day when the highest number of passengers are present. Good. So my apologies to Sheena for saying that she didn't write her overview. Right, let's go on to her details. So I'm going to delete. So we don't have however and on the other hand together. The said illustration further depicts, so what I would like to see here is you separating your details paragraphs and being very clear with the examiner what you're talking about now. So you can either divide this into half and talk about like before 1 o'clock and after 1 o'clock. Or you can divide it into the times with the highest travellers and the times with the lowest travellers. I make a video on how to logically organise the data because I think it's very confusing for students. Further depicts that early in the morning at 6, there are only 100 persons that could be seen. Now she said could, but this is every day, can be seen in the station located below the surface of the ground. Now, two things here. One, very good for trying to use synonyms. 2, that synonym's really awkward. We would never say located beneath. Excuse me, can you please tell me where the station located beneath the surface of the ground is? If too many words, too unnatural. So you can, 2 synonyms for underground are metro and subway. You only need 1 or 2 synonyms and then you alternate. This phrase is a little bit like saying, a metal box, I'm going to go to the shop in the metal box with 4 wheels that I put petrol in. It's just a little bit too extraordinary. Could be seen in the subway station. Okay, the said illustration further depicts that early in the morning at 6, there are only 100 persons that can be seen in the subway station, but then suddenly peaks. But then, what peaks? This number suddenly peaks up. We don't peak up, we simply peak. So we don't use phrasal verbs in academic in reports like this. So suddenly peaks to 400 people at 8. Okay, peaks to 400 people at 8. Hence, same scenario happens in the afternoon at 400. Now, I wouldn't say hence. That's like as a result, the same scenario. There's no as a result here. That's not the correct linking word. The said illustration further depicts that early in the morning, there are only 100 persons. I would divide this. So this is, like I told you in the to what extent essay, this is what I would say here. So the topic sentences in the to what extent essay, the first reason, the second reason, I agree. This is how I would introduce. Looking at passenger numbers before 1300 hours, comma, okay? That's your first details paragraph, and Sheena's only written 1, but she should be writing 2. And then the second details paragraph should start with regarding the later times, or regarding the second half of the day. Okay, those are how you should introduce your details. Details paragraph 1 and details paragraph 2. Any questions about that, let me know. I know some examiners. They are funny creatures. They are grumpy and they want things to be very clear for them. They hate to check, what am I reading? What am I reading? So that's, ideally, I recommend writing like that. Okay. But this number suddenly peaks. And then instead of saying scenario happens, I would say here, it's not really a scenario. I would just say similarly, in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, wherein, there are only 100 people using it, but also abruptly increases to more than 350 in the evening. However, it relatively drops again to just more than 100 at 8 o'clock. Okay. We don't abruptly increase. Similarly, in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, there are only 100 people using it. But this number increases dramatically to more than 350 Okay. So, Sheena, first of all, my apologies for saying you didn't write an overview. You did write an overview. Second of all, I was confused because you should be trying to separate the details into 2 paragraphs. These are my recommended introductory phrases for you. And these are what I teach my students in my very special academy. So I don't give out this information usually for free. I would say you could include more details there. So starts at 6, it dramatically increases to 400. You didn't include this number 400 at 7:30. Oh, you did at 8 o'clock. But then this number suddenly, I would talk more, then I would say what happens after that. There's a lovely grammar structure you can use, and it's comma, it's after peak, comma, ing. It peaks at 400, comma, and then before dropping to just under 200 at 10 o'clock. I would say you need to include a few more details here. It doesn't, when an examiner is reading a chart, they want to be able to picture it in their mind. And when I read this paragraph, I can't picture it in my mind, because you said it goes to 400 people at 8, but then immediately you talk about 4 o'clock. So you missed from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You've kind of missed this. So I would say before dropping to just under 200 at 10 o'clock, this number then increased to 300 at 2 o'clock. So you need to put a few more details in there. For that reason, I'm probably going to be awful when marking you again. Let's see. So I'm going to delete my overview that I wrote there because you wrote yours, Sheena. I wonder if Sheena's watching, if she's got any questions. What I would say here is, so after 8 o'clock, suddenly peaks to 400 people at 8 o'clock. And then I'd say before, if you watch this video again, before dropping to. Right. Because you missed some details, I'm very sorry. I'm going to give you a 5 for task response. I'm very harsh today, and a 6 for lexical resource. You need a little bit of study with your verbs. Abruptly increase, and we don't relatively drop. It drops gradually. So you want a little bit of study of verbs and adverbs together. Drops gradually again. And we don't use prepositions into with these verbs. We just use to, drops gradually to, just more than 100 at, okay, good. Okay, I'm going to move that up a little bit. I think this is a 6 across the board. We say in all areas. If anyone disagrees, please let me know. If you think it should be more or less, this is would be an overall 6. There's some details that you've really left out. Some words that were unnecessary. Yeah. Okay, you guys. I'm here now. I think I've finished. If there are any questions at all, I'd be, first of all, here, are any of you in my group? Have I got any familiar faces? Well, if Jeff allows, I've got a little PDF that I made for you, and it's the 5 lies why you're not getting a band 7 in your IELTS writing, and it's got an invitation to my group in it. I do a weekly feedback. in Zoom, and even students who don't pay to come into my academy have ended up getting a 7 by watching or taking part in this feedback. Thank you, Jeff. And Jeff often comes to support and to observe what's going on, and so that's lovely. Thank you so much for having me. So how shall I give you the PDF? Shall I drop it in the comments or shall I give it to you afterwards for your page, Jeff?
You can just only send to my in our chat
messenger
box. Yeah, messenger.
Great, perfect. Makon, thank you very much. Thank you for interacting. You are all most welcome. It was lovely, lovely, lovely. I would love to see you again. I'd love to hear about your progress. IELTS is probably one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. So it's just wonderful that Jeff is providing this platform, because he knows what a struggle it is. And I've seen in the lives of my students how it overtakes their lives. You know, their lives are just consumed by it until they get their score. Yes. So
yeah. So yeah, Joy. First, I would like to say thank you to all the members who sent their essay, because that's also a big part.
Well done for taking action. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks to Faye and Sheena, because I used their essays. But for those who sent, I'm gonna give you your work done with evaluated by other IELTS experts. You're gonna have your result. Okay. So thank you so much, Joy. I'm looking forward again soon for your another session. And to all the members, yeah, you have something to say, Joy? That's all. So nope. I'm gonna send to the group what is Joy's gonna share to us. Okay, so just sit back and relax, and you can also sleep if you're in the Philippines. Okay, Joy, thank you so much, and everyone have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.